From trauma to emergency care, this is Verve Trauma Talk, and this is your host, Dr. Amar Pyari Makhanlal Chauhan. Welcome to Verve Trauma Talk. This is your host, Dr. Amar Pyari Makhanlal Chauhan, and this is season 1, episode number 3. And topic for the today's podcast is nurses training in India. Yes, nurses training. Nursing care is the backbone of the any healthcare system. Yes, that's the glue which binds any healthcare system in the world. And you may diagnose the patient correctly, you may write the right prescription, but if the nurses are not taking care of the patient properly, then he or she unlikely to go home. So such an important part of our healthcare chain, and their training is ignored. Not only their training is substandard, but that is inadequate also. So what is the way forward? Let me re-emphasize that the purpose of my podcast is just to find out the gaps in our trauma and emergency care, and nothing beyond that. And these are my personal view, and I have been referring to Niti Aayog document repeatedly. It has rightly identified the gaps, but it has not offered very concrete solution how we are going to overcome those gaps. And if we talk about nursing scenario in West, then you will find that nurses, they are almost in training at par with doctors. They are on the same page when treating a doctor, and sometimes they do provide constructive feedback and sometimes lead resuscitation. And if some doctor, like for example, if we give example for central line placement, if the doctor is not taking proper precautions, then she may not allow you, the doctor, to put the central line. So they are quite vocal about their patient right as well. But in Indian setting, our nurses barely or rarely give that kind of feedback because their training has not been proper. And when we talk about the Western scenario, sometimes nurses there are even director of non-clinical, courses like simulation or communication or interdisciplinary team. So can we have those kind of position in India? Certainly not. And in this regard, I would like to find out that the quality of the training we have been given to the nurses is not optimal. And this is the wake up call for all of us to infuse some quality in our nursing training program. And I will quote another example, that whenever Indian nurses go to Gulf countries, they have to do BLS and ACLS training. But when they are working in India, they work without those two basic, life saving courses. So that's a huge difference between nursing care in India and abroad. So, what is the scenario of training in India presently? So, the present scenario is quite gloomy and depressing because the nursing training take place in almost in a single room, and it is almost a coaching center without qualified instructor or educator, and they themselves are not educated in simulation or probably don't have any clinical experience. They don't have a standard protocol or standard study design, which is skill and scenario based. And whatever they have been told, they have been passing on. And I have talked to few instructor as well as nursing student. There's hardly any mannequins for their teaching, and they are not sent to field scenario. Whatever practical experience they have, they go to sometime to civil hospital or private hospital where they hardly get anything to do. So practically we are releasing these untrained nurses which doesn't have any practical experience in our healthcare system, which is, to my view, is a worrisome fact, and we must correct it as soon as possible. So what is the way forward? What is my suggestion? So what I'm planning is that I am planning gamification of nurses training. So gamification is a concept when the gaming format is used in non-gaming context, like in healthcare. So what I am plan to do is that I am developing a video game through which I plan to train nurses. So the concept is they learn when they play, because just passing on these lectures, didactic part will not motivate them to learn or hone their skills. So the plan is like this, that the game will start with a trial scenario. I will talk about what is trials and how it is done, how the patient are categorized in red, yellow, and green categories. So there will be videos of red, yellow, and green category of patient, and then there will be 4 frames, and each frame will contain 3 patient, each of red, yellow, and green category. So first they will have that reinforced learning in triage, like they will learn how to categorize red, yellow, and green patient, and then in the 5th frame, that will be assessment frame. So they will have to now identify which is the green patient, which is the yellow patient, and which is the red patient. So if they identify the patient, or if they do the trials correctly, they move to second level, right? They go to manage ABCD of the patient. If they don't, then the game restart. So like in games, until or unless you master the first step, you cannot go to the second step. So similarly, I plan to reinforce their learning in trials, and if they do that correctly, then they can go to second level, that is taking care of ABCD. So why I'm planning that? Because this is the latest concept going, I mean, for quite some time in Western countries, and given the resource constraint we have, like lack of simulation lab, although government is trying to do that, but that will take some time. Until that, I think we should give them some kind of idea about trials and how to take care of ABCD, how to identify life-threatening condition of the patient, and institute some kind of life-saving treatment before the doctor arrives. So this is my plan for training nurses, just to give them broad outline about the life-threatening conditions, how should they tackle, how should they proceed, and at the same time should have some kind of self-confidence before they are pressed into the field. And I would like to have your opinion, your feedback, your any other thoughts which can be helpful in training our nurses. And I hope this games goes well with our nurses, because when you plan something in gaming context or in gaming format, then even when you are not interested, much, then you sometime play that game. And this is the concept of learning while playing. So with that, I finish this podcast, and this is all for today's podcast. And adios, bye bye. See you in next episode with a new topic. And till then, take care. Keep reading.